Right?
He's okay. He has nothing to worry about. Dine with all the women you want to dine with, Mike Pence. You're going to be all right.
That's the presumptuous thing about culture like that.
Nobody wants it.
Yeah. They just assume that all the guys are just going to get, I say pussy?
Yeah,
that they're
you
just
can
going to
say
get
pussy.
pussy easily. Like, no, you won't.
They're coming from this mentality of women, like, I just need to get a husband. I need to trap a man. I'll take any man, even if he's like a human serpent. Who's destroying the country, I'll take him. And he looks like he's made out of silly putty. I'm still going to say, this is how desperate I am, guys. Nobody wants his gross ass. He'll be right, but his wife can stop worrying.
Well, power is an
in Colorado who had all that said, I will never do this, never do that. And they found out he was hanging out with a dominatrix. Who was the guy? He had the largest church.
Oh, Jerry Falwell? Well, no, not Colorado.
Yeah, well, it was Colorado.
No. I'm thinking.
There's one, yeah.
There was a guy. But he had that same type of, I don't do this, I don't do that, and da-da-da-da-da. And next thing you know, you find out that he's...
Well, there was the state representative from Oklahoma who retired last week, who's a big Bible thumper, family values guy, and they found him in a hotel with a teenage boy.
That's why I said that. Yeah.
There was there was another this week. One of the big stories in the news this week, that teacher in Tennessee who's on the run with his 15-year-old student. Right. Yes, but also he was, big. I think he was like the teacher, the advisor for the Christian club or whatever they call it these days.
They do this to cover
He was
up
a pro-Bible thing. Yeah.
I really feel that way because, I'm not against religious people. My mom is a very religious person, and she's a very good person. That really,
those two are not.
So
but
I'm not
that's
anti-religious people, but I do think a lot of people who have a lot of filth and dirt in their lives, they are going to go the hardest to try to create a different impression. So, they're trying to take away their own guilt.
Yeah, I think sometimes people are so ashamed of whatever that dark need they have is, and instead of being taught to express it in a healthy way, I kind of do how, even though I hate 50 Shades of Grey because it's so poorly educating people about things like BDSM, but I think it's good that it's at least in the public mind, the zeitgeist, if you will, that now it's being talked about, because maybe if people become more aware of things like consent, maybe you find someone who's into you hitting them instead of just hitting the person you're with. We can manage these dark thoughts instead of just suppressing them.
That's true.
Maybe.
So I think you already have a person who has a lot to hide, and then you put them in a system where they have to suppress it more. It spins out.
Or when you have folks who are in that, who love to tell other folks that they're heathens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're a heathen, you're this, you're that. And I said, at least I can acknowledge what I am.
Yeah.
How about you? I know what I do.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I like my tequila, and I want to go and party or whatever. But I can say that because I know me. I've acknowledged what I am. You are sitting around trying to hide behind the Bible, or the guy who eventually drinks the cognac and sleeps with the woman in the church, and then all of a sudden, look what you did to me. I was a good man.
And I
was like, don't get out of here.
Okay,
and these church, the most religious men who are the most concerned about women seducing them, they're like the guys that no woman is ever going to seduce. They those have nothing. It's like, no, you're okay. You have. If that's.
Come on, there are women with low standards out there. How do you think I've dated?
Honestly, I do feel like whatever situation, my issue with Pence is that he forces him and his wife's weird standards on everybody else. But if that's your marriage situation, I don't really care ultimately, because that's you and your wife suffering. Right. I think what's problematic, though, with people like him with high positions of power is a lot of times mentoring happens through meals and stuff. Yeah. And men... It's harder for women to break into fields.
Yes, I had that.
I had a situation. I used to work in sales, and the manager used to take... it was all guys, and then I came in, and then he would get one by one, take them out to a bar for a drink, and that's how he mentored them. And he didn't do that with me because he was married or whatnot. And it's like, I don't want you. Your wife I'm not a threat to your wife. But I kind of complained to him about it. I was like, then maybe you should find a different system, because you already told me I'm smarter than all these guys. I came in, I was selling better than them in 2 months. They were there for 6 months, 7 months to a year. In my first 2 weeks, I was already selling high, and then in 2 months, I beat all the guys. And I'm the only one not getting mentored. But mentoring is how you move up in a lot of systems, whether it's in corporate America, whether it's in politics. So I think when you have someone, normally if it's some Joe Schmo with those ideas, I'm like, whatever, I don't care. Just don't make me suffer for it. But I think when you have a politician, in a high position like that. I mean, no, I don't want to be mentored by that snake, but, you know, another person, you're putting women in a position where we can't move up. Already everything's against us, and that's another dimension of why women are not moving up in certain places, is that people are not investing in us. And the few women who are there, they're, like, stretched to their limits, like having to mentor everybody, you know, and the guys need to help them.
I had a very similar situation. I was an intern at a bank headquarters to become a financial analyst, and there were two of us, and there's a boy intern and a girl intern. That was me. And the treasurer would he'd take him out to lunch, and then and that happened regularly. Then he wouldn't take me out to lunch. He took me out like one time, and I guess he got flack from the other people in the department
for the one time that he went.
And then the other women in the department, at least it was one specific one, would pull me aside, and she'd be like, look, you know, you can be with a lot of different men. Don't be with him. And I was like, dude, I never even said anything. People just assume.
It's the Peyton place. I'm telling you. I don't care where you work. If you get more attention than one, if they think, even though you're doing your job, it doesn't matter. There's that one ignorant woman who's going to start that rumor. Oh, look at her. Who does she think?
But see, with me, it was the guys doing that to me.
Yeah.
It was in my job. It was the men doing it because they were getting. Because I said, "Can you create a different system?" So he did, and then they're like, "You took our drinks away." And if you could dress appropriate to work, which I did, it was sales. You dress a certain way for sales. Like you could dress appropriate to work. You know, it was the guys who got really mad at me, accusing me. And you see that in stand up too, when girls who are feminine go up a lot. They're like, oh, whose dick did she suck? And it's like, nobody. Have you seen the bookers in this? This is not happening.
I book a show. Well, all right, point taken.
But see, that's what now. Like, or we'll always say, you know, I always call guys, you know, at my job working at juvie, I would tell them that, you know, you have a boob weakness, so the woman can walk in and she tells them whatever. Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, no problem. Here are your days off. You know? And I'm like, wow, hey, man. And she's not attractive. She's not showing anything. It's just you have guys who are weak to women, and they will give them what they want. I don't know why they do it, but they do it.
Except for very equal pay. That they don't give us.
No.
Not equal pay, not promotions and equal pay, but everything else.
But, you know, like if I say,
think
hey,
of
man,
all these advantages that we're talking about women having in the workplace.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the wrong way to
You said facetiously.
Back to Mike Pence, though. We don't know about their personal life, and we don't know if maybe he has had an affair, because that's the other thing. I'm looking at that and thinking, you know, I don't think you always start out that way. Like, you're not allowed to have meals with other women. Maybe something happened.
Maybe he earned these restrictions.
Yes, and they're there. You know, because some people, like, I've heard of couples where they have separate Facebook and email accounts, and the guy, you know, or the girl misbehaves, and then they're like, okay, we'll go at this again and give a second chance, but I can't trust you, so now we're going to have a joint Facebook. Yeah. Joint email account.
I have like the one psycho ex. There are several, but there's the one that she is
you have
like.
great taste in women, Dave.
Which is the reason why. It's taken me a long time to realize that you got to find someone who's crazy is compatible with your own.
Which is the reason why monogamy is so hard. People should acknowledge monogamy is hard.
This was a literal long-distance relationship, not just the other side of town. She lived in New York, and she was constantly jealous. And, you know, it was like crazy, you know, and long story short, found out a couple years into the relationship, the reason she was constantly convinced that I must be cheating when she's in New York and I'm here in L.A. is because she was cheating when she was in New York and I was here in L.A.
That's always the flip side of that. Yeah.
Always.
I wonder if they're doing it to me. I'm doing it.
There's a thing about humanity. We have a way of assuming everyone has the same character we do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. But I have friends who've been married for 20 years, 30 years. I mean, monogamy is hard. To sit up and deal with the same person for years.
Well, yeah, but you know,
and you have to want to do it. If you're going to do it, then do it. But do not try to dip your toe over here. You can't.
You can't approach marriage like Donald Trump approaches healthcare reform. Well, nobody knew it was this hard.
Yeah.
or like Donald Trump approaches marriages, I guess. Also.
Well, let's talk about Pence more. So it's okay. So there's so much like people are talking about this. My biggest issue with that is not so much what they do in their private relationship. My 2 issues with that is that he wants everyone to live like him, because what they do in their life, if they want to have that kind of marriage, what do I care? They can have their religious beliefs.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is that when you have people in his position of power, it really cuts women out of.
Yeah, and for anyone who would disagree with that statement, Pence was the tying vote to allow states to defund Planned Parenthood.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But if you look at it that way, what you're saying, it's like when you're sitting here, we're having a conversation with guys, and they're at my cigar lounge, and we're talking, and they said, "Well, dude, I don't believe in oral." Okay, we do. Sorry,
I don't believe in.
They don't believe in oral. But we do.
There's going to be some lonely dudes.
Yeah. And it's like, hey, and even the women were like, yeah, because we have women that come in and they smoke, and I said, well, you ain't getting none. And they people actually spoke up, but these guys were like, no, I don't do that. That's yeah.
I remember there was
they're gonna be
back when I
lonely.
worked at a music venue in Missouri. There was a blues band, local blues band that they played once, twice a month. But I was hanging out in the office of the venue with the front man of the band, and this was the first time I ever heard of guys who wouldn't go down on women, and did not know that for a long time, I guess it was a characteristically black thing, that black men wouldn't go down on women.
They don't go to the well.
And this is what he was telling me.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, and I'm like, really? He goes, man, if you can't fry it up in a pan, I ain't eating it. And I was amazed, because it's like, yeah, but you know how much women like that? You know how much you like it? If you do it well, women like it more.
I think this could speak to something else, though, because it depends on socioeconomic status, whether you have health care. So if you're a poor woman and you don't know that you have some kind of infection down there, so you smell like a rotting can of garbage, no, the guy's not going to, and that's possible.
Yeah, I think a lot of those beliefs come from economic.
Yeah, and so I can see maybe why someone who is less socioeconomic status might be in a different.
I'm sorry.
You ever get that not so fresh taste in your mouth, Tymon?
No, that comes from ignorance, because my older brother used to think, well, yo, bro, I got these 2 fingers here. I can control a woman right here. I said, did you ever think she has her own fingers?
Yeah, we don't need men for that.
No.
Sorry, we don't need men for that.
He's 10 years older than me, so if he's thinking this way at 10 years older than me, I was like, who taught you about sex? Did you read?
Probably nobody.
I think that really
that's sex ed.
But that's the thing, right? It's getting worse a lot in many ways, because we don't have sex ed anymore. I think I got really lucky that I went to school in the 90s in New York when we had sex ed. But the same school that I grew up in doesn't have the sex ed programs anymore.
I'm astounded when I meet guys from out of state, because California is pretty progressive, and we learned a lot. And then sometimes I'll date a guy who's from the Midwest.
Oh, yeah.
And then they'll ask for things, and I'm astounded at hey, you can't do that. You can't let poo get into the hoo-hah, because that will make an infection. I don't know if you know that.
Enough with the medical terms.
I don't know what you want me. I did. I like to be creative with my names. Even though I said pussy earlier too. I said it, but this time I said hoo-ha.
You say it in a cute way, right? Because with guys, they're always like, "You're emasculating it." As soon as you're smarter than them about something, so you kind of make it cutesy for them so they could receive it from you.
Yeah, it's a hoo-ha. Yeah, I mean you can't. No, really, but poo should not be getting in the hoo-ha. And it creates an infection. You could get a UTI. You could get a kidney problem. You can end up in the hospital if you get things into your vagina area in the wrong place. So, but this guy is asking for things, and I had to educate him, and he's like, no, that's not true. And I'm like, no, you just grew up in the Midwest where they don't teach you shit.
But that one you think would be common sense.
No.
You wouldn't let it near anything else.
Well, some women don't know.
Near anything else.
Women there don't know either, so they'll accept that kind of behavior, and then that makes it normal for that person. So he's been with people who've said yes. Exactly.
Without going into details, I used to work at the Playboy Mansion in the office, and even though I was well versed in anatomy and everything before I started working there, some of the prescriptions that came in, I learned more about issues. What's that for? Oh, okay, that's a thing, But yeah, I coming from the Midwest, no pun intended,
Me too.
I did know about that.
Yeah.
So it does depend on who your teachers are.
Yeah.
But I think with girls, okay, I'm gonna get off this because I was just like the girls were taught how to wipe from childhood. So
Yeah,
we should know
front
this.
to back.
Okay, so we should know this.
It seems basic,
Okay.
but
Okay.
no, yeah.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen.